ghost of the Australian bush is calling, but it won't give up its secrets easily. Grit, sweat, blood, and patience. But will it all pay off? I hunt animals in the pursuit of life. Life lived and life taken. I believe it's through this dance with nature and the wild places that we truly live, connect, and grow. I'm Chris Waters, the Australian Huntsman, and these are my stories. History is not merely a thing of the past, but rather a map of our journey through time, painted from a particular viewpoint and fashioned to guide the modern-day explorer. Well, today I'm set to explore and hunt an area of Australia brimming with rich history and untamed wilderness, the picturesque wilds of Mount Baw Baw in Victoria's southeast. Gazing across the rolling serene pastures and dense fern-choked forests, the remaining historical remnants that have survived the last 100 years remind us of the brave Australian pioneers who first traversed these lands, hunting for gold, good timber, and elusive Sambar deer. And that's what I'm here for, to hunt Sambar, the largest deer in Australia, often referred to as the ghost of the bush. On this hunt, I'm fortunate enough to have my trusted friend Pete from Baw Baw Adventures by my side, ready to impart his Sambar hunting wisdom. And just like those early settlers in the region, I too have fever visions of striking gold, filling my freezer with venison. Yet, it will be the lessons I learn along the way, the mistakes I make, and the victories I achieve that will ultimately form the history I get to reflect back on. Now, one of the best ways to locate a specific species of deer is to search for the unique vegetation that they prefer to feed on. Or as Pete would paraphrase, find the deer's tucker and you'll find the deer. So, for this first day, Pete has opted to give me a crash course in Sambar grazing habits.
See, that's good. See, they're not fresh, but...
Yeah. Now that's really distinct there.
Yep. Later in the autumn, these will be, see, they start to shoot a bit here.
Yeah, the little ones, yeah.
Where it's been chewed off there, it's coming back.
And so all of this would have been past seasons of feeding?
Yeah, it would have been during winter. Yeah.
Okay, during winter.
Yeah, and maybe the start of spring.
Yeah, and some of these shoots there again.
And you'll find when it gets smaller, see that one?
Up here?
About as thick as your finger, there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What they'll do, if there's enough sucrose in the tips, I'll turn the head side on, put their mouth over it, and turn the head like that, snap it.
Twist it off.
That comes down, chunk, 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 and they...
Is that what that broken one at the base might have?
Possibly,
yeah. Potentially.
Yeah. There's one there that's been broken off, see? In
that one right there, yeah.
Yeah, that's been broken off. He's done that. Oh, here it is here.
Yeah.
As you can see. See there, that's where its teeth
are nibbled.
Yeah, that's where it's gone like that.
Yeah, and then
it snapped it off there. That's where it came from there, see?
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, it's not fresh.
No, but it's a great example.
See there?
Yeah, the new shoot.
That's gone. There, that one.
Yeah.
That's been nipped off. See how soft and succulent that is?
Yeah, compared to something like that, which feels a bit drier.
I can go like that and see the juice in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what they...
And you can see all the way here. Print.
Yes.
Oh, cool. You're talking about this here, yeah. And that's the leaf you're talking about, yeah?
Yeah, like that'd be dry. See, it's still soft.
Yeah. Yeah.
With this heat, that'd be dry as if it's...
And that's moving up the hill, right?
No, it's coming down. See there?
Oh, yeah.
It's slipped.
Yeah.
That's the dew claws here.
Oh, yeah, those back little nippers, yeah.
That's that digging.
After spending the day soaking in as much of Pete's Sambar knowledge as I could, we then drove back to the camp to prepare for tomorrow morning's hunt. So before we go on our hunt tomorrow, I just wanted to stop and say, if you haven't already checked out the Australian Hunters Club, pause the video and go do that now. australianhunters.com.au. It's a fantastic club, a club that I'm personally really heavily involved in. I want to invite you to join as well. Each month you can go in the draw to win professionally guided hunts like the hunt I'm on now with Pete from Baw Baw Adventures. You can go in the draw to win hunting products every month as well. You can attend events. We have genuine reason to own a firearm. We've got insurance. You can go on hunts with other members. So for instance, I've got a member, Tegan, coming in 2 days time to hunt with me here in Baw Baw. It's an amazing hunting club and an amazing community, and I want to personally invite you to join. If you're interested in becoming a member, head over to australianhunters.com.au and hopefully I'll see you at an event. In the darkness of the early morning, everything in the bush is still. But as the sun begins to rise, that tempo subtly shifts. And for the observant hunter, you can catch an animal in this transition. And once you've found your prey, well, then you can set the tempo.
Yeah, I can see the head. See the head here? Yeah, there's the head. Right. Left hand side forward. Just the face and the neck. That's it. Yep. Good shot.
She's just run off.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So I've just taken a shot on a doe, and it looks like it was a neck shot. I didn't really have much to work with. I just had the face looking out, just peeking outside, and I had enough of the neck that I could get a neck shot. And it's not usually a shot that I'd like to take, but it's the only shot I had. And what happened was the deer dropped to the ground and then got up pretty quickly within a couple of seconds. And now it's moved further down across the face of this valley here. So Pete reckons that I've nicked it in the neck but didn't hit the spine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to contour down here, get to a game trail that's a bit lower. Pete's going to try and track the blood from above, and hopefully we can find it. It's a good size hind. Pete calls them does, I call them hinds. So I just heard her honk up here. At least I think it was her. It could be something else. We're kind of not being super quiet right now, so this up there is where I shot it, and it ran this way. So Pete's working his way up there, and I'm going to move this way. So often what you'll find is, once you've wounded a deer, especially a sambar, they'll run uphill. They'll take the hardest path to get away from me, and then what they'll do is eventually when they tire out, they'll find some spot that's kind of protected on either side and from the back, and they'll lay down and they'll face the direction that they think you're coming in almost as like a final watch, you know, the last stand. And that's often where you'll find them dead. So that's my prediction. But we won't know until we find her. So this game trail just caught my eye that runs off the direction. You can see here. It's a technique. Where she stumbled, fallen. This is the part of hunting I love, following a blood trail. Man, it's intoxicating, there's something about it. It's at a point like this that you want to make sure you've got another round chambered, just in case you need to finish it, which I probably will. Come on, darling. Where are you? So this is really interesting. We've followed the trail until we've got to this massive pool of blood, which tells me that the deer is tiring. It's starting to lose a bit of energy, and so it's laid here in this spot to kind of recoup, but at the same time there's a lot of blood, so that's a really good sign. That means that while I may not have nicked an artery, there's enough that she's down. I reckon she can't be more than 100 meters from this point, somewhere down here. So we'll go try and find her. Again, you can see here, she's gone over the log. But rather than clear the log like a deer normally would, her belly or her neck is rubbed against it. So she's tiring. I can hear her, she's just over here. I can hear her ragged breathing. Her lungs must be filling up with blood. So we'll just move real quiet. So while I've been tracking this deer, following its blood trail, and then seeing it spook, it's curled back and circled back and moved back towards Pete. And that gunshot you just heard, I think that was Pete putting it down. I've called out, but he can't hear me, so I'm just going to move this way. I'm not sure I'll bother following the blood track now, because I reckon he would have got it. Hopefully.
After reuniting with Pete, it became clear that it was his gunshot that I had just heard, but his narrowly missed shot was actually at a completely different Sambar hind who I must have snuck past while following the blood trail of my flighty wounded deer. Unwilling to admit defeat and concerned for the well-being of the wounded deer that I'd shot, we both decided to join forces and hike back to where I'd left the blood trail, continuing to track the deer for another 2 hours, up and over the next spur, eventually circling back through the fringe land before the blood trail led to a part of the property we were not allowed to access.
You can't see it, but the property owner's house is there, and one of the conditions for hunting on this property was that we wouldn't go near the house and wouldn't shoot near the house, and that is exactly where this blood is going. So, I mean, we've done all that we can to track this animal as long as we can. And I feel terrible because this is the first animal that I've injured that will probably die that I can't recover, and unfortunately it's out of my control, and that really sucks. But that's the name of it sometimes, that's the way it goes sometimes. And I just gotta keep hunting, gotta keep pushing forward. So frustrating though.
Now, nothing would please me more than to tell you that by some miracle we discovered the deer on our way out, but that's not what happened. I walked away from this hunt with a burden of guilt that I wasted a beautiful animal's life and had nothing to show for it. And it's right that I wrestle with that guilt. But at the same time, it's important that we don't fall into the trap of limiting our understanding to only human-centric views. You see, nature doesn't care about our human sensibilities. To say that nature feels anything at all is a false anthropomorphism. Nature is a beautiful and fierce system that impartially rewards both death and life. If a deer dies in the bush without a human harvesting it, another animal will come along and complete the job. Every day its inhabitants willingly play under its rules in the game of risk and reward, and to think that we're somehow above it with our human thinking or abstract values dangerously fails to appreciate nature's power and influence over us. Later on in that trip, I found myself going over some of Pete's old family documents, revisiting the history of the Baw Baw area. Newspaper clippings from the late 1800s that describe millers and mountain men daringly leap from horseback onto Sambar, subduing them with a knife. Or a magazine where you could mail order a .22 Savage for £6 and have it arrive on your doorstep a few months later in a wooden box, ammo included. It's a nice reminder that the lessons we learn, while useful, are subject to the context of the history in which they're learned. What might be viewed as a failure by some, written onto one page of history, could be seen as a victory by others a few chapters on. But musings aside, next time, I'll get my deer.